Welcome to the Inclusive Itinerary, the podcast where every traveler has a place, every story matters, and every journey is designed with you in mind. I'm your host and travel agent, Danielle Mann. I'm so glad you're here. So you're probably wondering, who am I and what the heck is this? Well, I am an autism parent and a very proud LGBTQ plus ally. Um, and I'm a travel agent, and I believe that travel should be accessible, enjoyable, and deeply personal. I have always loved traveling and planning travel for other people, so this was obviously my next step. I've planned hundreds of trips for people, for travelers with different needs, different budgets, different backgrounds, and I realized something important. Travel becomes truly magical when it is tailored to you. That is my mission, that is my business plan, and that is why I have created this podcast. So, what is the Inclusive Itinerary? Well, this show is going to be all about real travel stories, insider insights, accessible planning tips, destination deep dives, and honest conversations about what it actually takes to create inclusive itineraries for everybody, every type of traveler, families, solo adventurers, people that have accessibility needs, LGBTQ plus travelers, neurodivergent travelers, first timers, everyone in between. Literally inclusive, everybody, what to expect. So I hope to have weekly episodes covering everything from cruise planning to resort rundowns, packing tips. Eventually, I hope to get some interviews with industry pros, behind the scenes, what it's like for me working to plan your trips, storytelling from my own adventures, and my incredible clients that I work with. So that is my introduction, and this is way out of my comfort zone. I do not like being on camera. I don't like hearing myself. I don't like any of this. So please bear with me. I'm jumping out on that ledge. We're all in this together. So this is my very first episode, and I wasn't quite sure where to begin. So, in addition to being the inclusive TA, I am also a cruise specialist as well as a Universal Studios and Disney Pro. So I've decided that we should start with a first timer's guide to cruising. I remember the first time I took a cruise, we booked it. It's the easiest thing in the world, right? You book your cruise, and then you're like, now what? Like bloat from Finding Nemo when they get in the bags. Anyway, so let's talk about everything that you need to know and pack before you board your first cruise. Step one is to handle your travel documents. The worst thing that can possibly happen is you get to the port to get on the ship and you don't have anything to get on the ship with. Um, Technically, if you go on a closed loop cruise, that is a cruise that starts and ends in the same port in the United States. So you leave and return to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, Um, Technically, you can sail with a birth certificate and a government ID. Um, I don't recommend this because if something happens and let's say, there's a medical emergency in another country, how are you going to get home? You can't really fly home without a passport. So it's going to get more challenging and more difficult. But get the passport book just to be absolutely safest. Um, if you don't have a passport, like I said, you'll need a birth certificate and a valid government ID. Now, what if you are a woman who got married and changed your name? Your birth certificate and your government ID don't match. Obviously, in that case, you're going to need your marriage certificate. Another reason to get your passport, you already have to prove all of that. You don't have to worry about that ever again. Get the passport. Another thing that people don't usually think about is visa requirements. Some countries you need to have a visa before you can enter. So that's one other document to put on your checklist. As your travel agent, though, I'm going to remind you about all this stuff well in advance of your cruise. Step two, get to know your ship. A lot of times people don't really care where the ship is going. They just want to get on a certain ship. I've been on Icon of the Seas twice, and I still haven't seen and done everything there is. So you want to take some time to get to know your ship, get to know what kind of amenities there are as far as the spa goes, or adults only areas, if there are any water slides, the water park, like I said, on the Icon class ships, the Aqua Coaster on Norwegian Aqua. Of course, you've got the water coasters on the Wish class ships for Disney, and the water slides on those ships. Shows and entertainment. A lot of shows have game shows that they like to do. You're always going to have trivia and that kind of thing. Um, as my client, I send you actually a detailed ship guide before your cruise so that you know what kind of restaurants there are, what kind of bars there are, shows, kids clubs, all that kind of stuff. So step 2 is to get to know your ship before you get there. Step 3, dining packages, drink packages, internet packages. You want to book those as early as you are allowed. Now, on Disney, for example, there are no drink packages or dining packages. Um, so when your window opens up to book those things, you're not going to have to worry about drink packages. They do have some specialty dining, so you'll want to get that as soon as you possibly can, and of course, internet packages. For like Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, um, you'll want to get your drink packages and all of that. You can take care of it in your cruise planner app, and they have sales. Like right now they've got Black Friday sales where things are like 45-50% off. You want to get it as early as possible so you can get your best price. Once you lock in your price, though, if it does go down, all you need to do is just cancel it and rebook at the new price. It also gives you the best availability because like dining packages, they might sell out. So that's just something that you want to do as soon as you can. Step 4, you're going to want to plan your shore excursions. Um, these are the activities that you do when you get off of the ship in a port, like swimming with dolphins in Cozumel. You can go swim with manatees. It is amazing. They're beautiful creatures, and I highly suggest it. Things like city tours, to do a hop on, hop off trolley tour of like Key West, or you can do like a ruins tour on a Mediterranean cruise through Rome, Greece. So you want to look and plan your excursions. And again, on some cruise lines like Royal and Norwegian and Celebrity, they might have sales. Like right now, they have their Black Friday sale, and that also does apply to excursions. And these other things that you can think about are on like an island, a private island like Castaway Key or Perfect Day at Coco Cay. They have activities that you can book, or cabanas, um, day beds, jet ski excursions, snorkeling, paddle boarding, the zip lines, that kind of stuff, the water park at Perfect Day. Those are things that you can also book in advance. And again, they do tend to run cheaper in advance. So that's why you want to get a jump on this stuff and plan it in advance of your trip. The next thing you're going to want to do is check in online. This is going to save you a ton of time at the terminal. What you're going to do is you will enter a digital copy of your passport or photo ID, birth certificate, whatever you're using, a headshot so that they know who you are, and then you will enter your information like your birthday, mailing address, that kind of stuff. And then once you show up at the port, all you have to do is show your QR code and your passport or your travel documents, and that's how you get on the ship. And if they reject any of your documents, you'll have plenty of time to make sure you get the corrected ones, or just re-upload them so that they're clearer. That is a problem too. Um, so that's the next thing. And once you do that, the next step is going to be to plan your wardrobe based on theme nights. As your cruise gets closer, you're going to start to see events populating on your planner in your cruise app, whatever cruise line you're going on. And it will show you things like theme nights, theme parties. If there's a 90s party, a white party, a silent disco, a toga party, red party, that kind of stuff. So you'll be able to start planning your wardrobe so that you can fit in. These nights are obviously not required. It's totally up to you whether or not you want to participate. But a lot of people do like to get all dolled up, formal night. Some people go as far as as ball gowns and tuxedos. Some people just wear nice clothes. Nothing is mandatory. It's just a suggestion, but that's where you go after you're checked in. You start to see these events showing up on your cruise app, and then you can plan for your theme nights and start to pack. All right, so now it's getting close to time for your cruise. What you want to do next is make sure you have enough of your prescription medication to last you until you get home, and maybe a day or two in case anything happens. Um, Call your doctor, call your pharmacy, and take care of all of that so that you don't run out of your medication. The final thing you want to do, aside from showing up at port before the boat leaves, is notify your bank that you're traveling. Sadly, I forgot one time, and in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, I got an email that my account had been flagged for fraud and was turned off. Now, even if you pay for the internet, sometimes the phone does not work. So I had to scramble to contact my bank, and it took me a couple of days to say, no, 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 that is me. I am in the Bahamas. Please turn my bank account back on. So that's one thing that's important, that you let your bank know that you're traveling, and that's for any traveling, not just a cruise. And there you have it. That is the first timer's guide to getting ready for a cruise. If you're overwhelmed, you don't have to be. As your go-to travel agent, I am here to make your planning process seamless. If you like to travel and you want to travel better, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and share this podcast with anyone who needs a little inspiration or just loves to travel. Let's build an inclusive, welcoming travel community together. You can follow me at all of my social media channels you can see here on the screen. And I will see you probably in 2 weeks. I won't be here for Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And if you're not American, happy Thursday. I'm your trusted travel agent, Danielle Manley. Take care. I'll see you next time.